Y'all, when Mel said she bought Keke a drug test, I was hollering. Okay, and the reason why I'm hollering is because Mel, you don't believe Keke is sober. Because why are you grinding the girl drug test? Because the Mel basically is like, well, Keke, prove it to me you sober before I be defending you in these streets. That's what Mel was giving, okay? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. It's Saturday nights, so we gotta talk about this latest episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 6, episode 22. I think it's titled Not About the Keke and Haha, because Tisha said it in the episode. Before we get into it, thank y'all for continuing to click that subscribe button. Please do not leave this video without subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Also hit the thumbs up button, okay? Comment down below, because it's a lot of controversy on what happened, and we about to get into all of it. I couldn't wait to get down here to this video for y'all. I meant to actually do it right after the episode, but nevertheless, I'm here again on a Saturday night, okay? 2 weeks in a row. Let's go. Also, share the video where y'all like to share y'all content. And tag me when you share it. All right, so it was just so much debate about this on Twitter. And I'm going to just go on and say this, and I don't care who get mad. And first of all, it's a show. So at the end of the day, we don't know these people. I don't know y'all. Y'all don't know me. First of all, let me say that, because some people get too serious, and it's not that serious. But some of y'all just hate Letitia and Marsau so much that y'all was like, Keke threw a drink, but like that. Ain't no but. Keke threw a drink. It's a period. Keke threw a drink, period. But I mean, I get people's upset as well, and we're gonna get into it. Anyway, the episode picks up where we left off with the fight. Okay, after Keke then threw her drink, Tisha just sat there. First of all, Tisha, get active, get up, do something. I ain't saying beat up Keke on camera or nothing like that. I would have just jumped up, first of all. Maybe I would have flew across the table like Evelyn. I don't know. Anyway, so, we're picking up where, everyone was fighting, right? Marcel's still hollering, you need to get her a drug test and all this stuff. And so, he's ready to get it popping with Marcel. Kimmie is having to push Keke out. And I'm like, dang, Kimmie don't need to be having to do, put stress on her body after everything she went through. Jalen, it was a big old mess. So then they finally got Keke to walk out. Mel walks out and passes by Maurice and said, I'm sorry this happened to you, Maurice, in your home. This is why I don't invite people to mine. I was hollered at that. They had so many good one-liners this episode. I was cracking up at it. Most of the episode, I was hollering, okay? So everybody is just kind of shocked that it happened. Kimmie is inside with Tisha helping her get cleaned up. Tisha asked Kimmie for a wet paper towel in the kitchen. I noticed. I said, oh, that was not water. That was something sticky. So anyway, because that was just water, she wouldn't need a wet paper towel. I was like, oh, no. You pour something. Oh, no. I might could get past. No, ain't no might get past. Anywho, so it's Mel goes outside to talk to, and Stormi go outside to talk to Keke, and see what's going on with Keke. So at first I didn't like that. I was like, okay, Keke didn't get a drink thrown at her. It was giving Real Housewives of Potomac when everybody was checking on me and nobody was checking on Wendy. I was like, why are we checking on the person that threw the drink? But what I did like that Mel did is she held Keke accountable. She didn't coddle her or say, well, Tisha was doing this. She didn't actually hug her or coddle her. She held her accountable the whole time. So I appreciated that about Mel for sure. So Mel goes out there to see, Keke out there hollering, that's why I don't deal with her dumb butt. Now I'm done with her. Keke still talking trash, right? So Mel was like, okay, so what happened? When you got here, did anybody disrespect you? Keke said no. She was like, did anybody say anything to you? Keke said no. She said they didn't. She said she don't like the fact that Tisha said hi to Amin, but didn't say hi to her. And so she said that was disrespectful to her. And she said, okay, but you could have, matched her with the same energy, right? And so Keke was like, yeah, I could have done that. So Mel said, so baby, why did you throw that drink at her face then? Because Keke's unhinged. So then Keke was like, I know I was wrong, but she said, I just reacted. And so she was like, okay, but next time you could have done this differently, right? Keke was like, yeah, I know I could have, but, you know, she just makes me so mad. I'm tired of dealing with that. She's like, you know, Marcel is deflecting. He talking about, oh, in her confessional, she said, Marcel said, you know, I should get a drug test, and he's deflecting. And he needs to get a lie detector test. One thing has nothing to do with the other, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Those are two separate issues, but now they've been intertwined, so whatever. So Tisha said Keke said she been dealing with this for years. Said I've been telling her to leave them alone, stop messing with them, but she won't let it go. Keke said she done this time, she tired. Mel's like, well, I know, you and Marcel are frat brothers, so you don't want no issue that way. And said he don't care about all that, okay? So Keke went back inside. Mel in her confession was like, I don't understand what happened. Like, nothing was said to you. Nothing was done to you. Like, Keke was dead wrong for throwing a drink. She's like, it must got to be more to it. And Keke did say, like, you know, it had to do with, you know, I'm trying to tell Tisha about what I told you the other day with, you know, the beep, bleep, bleep. They beeping stuff out again. And they weren't trying to listen to me. And so that's why she went off the way she did. I'm sorry, none of that is justifying throwing a drink, in my opinion. First of all, Keke dead wrong. I don't care what nobody said. Keke is dead wrong. She should not have thrown a drink at Tisha. And okay, you wanted to get Tisha this information so badly. But wasn't it last season that Tisha was already mad at Keke for talking to Mel about her business and the rumors at the Christmas party? And then when Keke and Tisha made up, I think in the first part of this season, and they met down to the boxing gym, and Tisha said, please just don't, you know, talk about me and my husband and all that, and we good. So Keke then came back to talking about Marcel and rumors and stuff. Even if somebody did tell her rumors, she should just act like she don't know it. That's what she should do to keep peace, okay? If Tisha don't want to know nothing about her marriage, that's fine. That's okay. If Tisha don't want to see what everybody else see, that's fine. And like, what y'all want Tisha to leave off of a rumor until y'all give her some evidence? Like, then what would she would look dumb for just leaving because everybody is alleging cheating. That would look dumb. So, anywho, okay, so then Keke left. Mel did come, and now at the same time that scene is going on, we're also seeing Tisha in the kitchen, like I said earlier, getting cleaned up, and Marcel's in there, and they're telling Kimmie what happened. And Kimmie was like, wait, you didn't say nothing to her? She's like, no, I spoke to Amin, gave Amin a hug, and then I didn't speak to her. Now, I think that Tisha should have gave her like a little dry high, one of them little quiet highs that Mel gave Stormi and Destiny. Okay, that's what she should have. She was like, hey, girl, that's what she should have did and kept pushing, in my opinion, especially if you're going to speak to her husband. I think that Tisha should have spoke to Keke and just gave her a basic hi and kept it moving, okay? Then, you know, Kimmie, they're telling Kimmie about everything that happened, and about she's trying to tell us a rumor and all that, and she got mad nobody was trying to listen to her. And Kimmie's like, okay, but did y'all know that she was on this before she came here? Because if that was the case, Maurice would not have even invited her. And so Marcel's like, well, this has been going on for years. And so then Marcel and Tisha say in their confessional that, oh, Keke, you know, she's just been doing this for years, and Marcel thinks that Keke is jealous and she's supposed to have the life that Tisha has, and that's how she's acting now. I don't know about all that. I know there's a long history of those girls feuding because their parents were feuding and all that. So I don't know if she feels that way or not. I was a little tired of Marcel and Tisha's dramatic confessionals of hurt people, and we won't let Keke do this to us again. I was like, oh, okay. This is giving very much drama. Okay, it's been giving very much telenovela. Okay, calm down. So anywho, I think at this point everyone's back outside, gathering back to the table. Mel checks on Tisha. Everybody's getting their plate. And she's like, girl, you good? You okay? I'm sorry that happened to you. You okay, girl? Tisha says she good. She's like, you want another shirt? Because, you know, Mel got her God said go shirts in the Jeep or whatever she got. So she, you know, in the G-Wagon. So she had them available if Tisha needed to change. But Tisha said she good. Thank God she wore white. Her shirt is thin. You know, she had all them holes in her shirt. So she really didn't have much of a shirt on. But she got doused. Okay? So anywho, Then Mel pranced across the yard in her heels to Marcel. Marcel, you okay? I'm sorry that happened. You okay, Marcel? He said, yeah, he good. She's like, you don't want to eat nothing? You don't want nothing to eat? So then Tisha came over there, and so she's like, you lost your appetite? And he's like, yeah. And so then everybody kind of sits down at the table, and y'all remember cousin Courtney? Okay, Tisha and Kiki's cousin Courtney. I think we met her, I want to say last season. And oh my God, Tisha, Keke, and Courtney look dead alike, all three of them. So Courtney was like, I don't understand what happened. Like, I'm hearing both sides of the story. Mind you, Tiffany and baby Ace are coming. You know, Tiffany can't get into no drama when she got that baby with her, okay? Because she got to be on her best behavior. She said Lewis is out being Lewis on the road. So Ace is her +1. So Tiffany said in her confessional that she is not surprised about the drama that Keke and Tisha were getting into. But she kind of was surprised to see Marsau defending Tisha. So Courtney is like, I don't understand, what's going on. She said something about some rumors. I'm hearing both sides. I don't understand. Tisha and Marsau are explaining the whole thing, what Keke was saying about the guy and the whole cheating rumors. And they said that Marsau said the guy called them that night because Keke's been trying to meet up with Tisha for like a month. And Tisha's like, girl, you got me on the phone. Just tell me on the phone, like, why you need to see me. And I like that too. Just tell me on the phone. Like, what is the thing? So anywho, that, Tisha wasn't trying to see Keke like that. Marsau said the guy called them that night, but Keke didn't know. And Keke trying to start this mess. Now I don't know who to believe. Now, I don't know. I would like to hear from this guy, okay? Allegedly. I want to hear from him. But anywho, so then, Kimmie sitting there, everybody's eating, they talking about what happened. And so I think this isn't the part. This is the part when Jalen pulled up in Kimmie's Jeep. Because remind y'all, we here for the Jeep, y'all. I forgot all about Kimmie's Jeep. I forgot that's why Maurice is even throwing this barbecue, y'all. I totally forgot about Kimmie's Jeep, okay? I was like, what is this? Who's driving this Jeep? I was like, who ain't here? I was like, I know Destiny ain't coming because she down to the Crime Stoppers too, y'all. Before I forget, we're going to take a pause and go to the social media streets real quick because did y'all see how Destiny turned herself in for forging her ex-husband's name on a utility contract or something like that? That was all in the social media streets this week. So I was like, well, I don't think Destiny coming. I don't know who coming. I was like, maybe Courtney came back. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, it was Jalen coming in the Jeep. Okay, so, Kimmie jumps up. She was like, who was that? And then she's like, that's my Jeep. So she ran. She was so excited. She get in the Jeep. She's like, hey. Like, she pumped. We pumped for her. I was like, oh, finally Kimmie got this Jeep. She felt so much joy. She was like, forget the mess that happened earlier. This has made it even better, okay? A little bit later in the scene, she went and took a joyride with one of her friends, and she came back. She's like, I don't even care that lady was fighting down in my house. I said, I know that's right, Kimmie. Although, Keke, you was wrong for fighting in that lady's house. So anyway, everybody's back at the table gathered. And so Courtney is still like, I don't even know who to believe. I don't know. Because, those are both her cousins, right? And so Tisha's like, oh, Courtney know that, Keke been alive for years, been a liar for years now. Like, Courtney already know. And so Mel was like, well, why did you Marsau said, they've been going through this with the last few years with Keke. And so Mel was like, well, why did you and Amin get into it? And so he said, because I said, at least my wife is not a dope head or something like that, he said. And so they was like, Mel said, why would you say that? And Martell kind of hit him. And so he said, I said that to get under, his skin, to get at Amin, because, Keke threw a drink at my wife. And so Tisha was like, what did you say? And he repeated it. And so they're like, oh, that's not right. He's like, well, I just, he threw a drink at my wife. Like, I wanted to get back at him. So Stormi's like, well, why did you want to make him mad? And so he was like, well, I couldn't make Keke mad. And so he was like, that's the thing when women don't understand. Like, if the wives get into it now, the men got to fight. And so I think this has been a topic on the show before that we've rehashed and hashed. So anywho, then they get on this whole debate about the men and the women and all that. And so he was like, no, I shouldn't have said it. I was wrong. I apologize. Like, in the heat of the moment, that's how I reacted. I would take it back. Like, I wouldn't say that again. He did say, he apologized for that. Or say he wouldn't do it again because they weren't there to apologize too. So, then they got on the whole topic of Stormi calling Marsau a bitch and all that. And so she was like, oh, well, is that what you, because Stormi's like, oh, is that what you was trying to do with Kourtney when you was calling us Mr. and Mrs. Steele? And they played that flashback from the town hall meeting. And so she was like, that's why you're trying to get under Kourtney's skin. And so he was like, well, yeah, I had to get Kourtney because you would call me a bitch. And so then they got on the whole topic of that. And so Martell says, well, I feel like as a man, like a woman should not be calling a man a bitch, and that my wife would need to defend me on that. A side note, Martell was giving commentary right after the fight when the show came on in the beginning. I was like, why is Martell giving commentary? But anywho, I don't even remember what he said, and it was irrelevant. So Martell was saying he doesn't think, that was right for Stormi to be calling Marsau a bitch, and Letitia should have said something. And so Stormi was like, but you say, yeah, I am a bitch, I'm a big bitch. So that's how you reacted. And so she asked Martell, like, if I would have called you that, what would you have said? And he said, I would have said, don't call me that again. And she was like, and then I would have respected that. And so Martell was like, well, Stormi didn't know. And he's like, well, because Stormi's culture, that's accepted. I was hollered at that part. And so then Maurice is like, no. He's like, calling a man is a trigger word for a man. You can't be doing that. And it's Kimmie and Maurice thing is like, no, like at the end of the day, like, you can't, y'all know that ain't right, because if he called her, like if a man called the woman a bitch, then of course the husband is gonna have to do or say something. So that's not right. And I agree, like this is not even do that. That's not, the man don't call the woman a bitch and the woman don't call the man a bitch. So let's just not even do that. And so Marsau did, but for the future, like say to Stormi, for the future, please don't call me a bitch again. And they shook on it. Okay. So then what's her name? Tisha gonna say, do you think you owe Marsau an apology for calling him a bitch though? And so I think she said no in that moment. I don't know, in her confessional, she says she don't feel like she owe him no apology because he do get more sassy than most. And hey, that's how she feel. I ain't mad at it because he did come in here for that $100, okay? Which I hope to God we ain't gotta talk about no more. Anywho, but it was inappropriate in a business meeting as well. And I didn't like that. So, excuse me. So then Mel left, and she said she's gonna get out of here. And Kimmie asked Kourtney and Tisha, she's like, I want to ask you, Kourtney, and you as well, Tisha, do y'all feel like Keke is sober, or do you feel like there's still some, possible drug use there? Because, Marsau was saying, like, she did it out of drug use. And so Kimmie's thing was like, well, because even when I hugged her, there were some tremors there. But she's like, I don't know if she did that because of nerves and she hasn't been around the group in a long time or what. And so Kourtney was like, yeah, I haven't noticed any, like, violent behavior or anything like that. But I have noticed the sweats. And so, yeah, I think there's some more healing and some more work that needs to be done. I was like, oh, that's telling. And we've seen it in the last few episodes, right? Let's not act stupid, y'all. So, Tisha and Marsau was saying, like, they've dealt with all this stuff with Keke before. And Marsau was saying, like, he's known Keke for 18 years, and this kind of situation has never happened. And so he was like, she's on drugs. She needs, he started talking about her being on drugs and going off about that. And he was taking shots. Okay, so Kourtney didn't like that. Kourtney was standing 10 toes down defending her cousin Keke, and I wasn't mad at that. Now I did appreciate Kourtney for defending her cousin. I appreciated that. But you didn't defend your cousin that got the drink poured on her either. So I don't know. So Kourtney was like, no, Marsau, like that thing is like, why would you, take blows at someone who's struggling on drugs? Like, I don't think that's funny. She was like, okay, if you're saying this person threw the drink because they're on drugs, then why would you publicly address them having drugs if you knew that they threw the drink because of the drug use? So Kimmie said, well, she publicly threw the drink on Tisha. I'm like, come on now. I agree with Kimmie. And so, so what's the difference? So, exactly. And Keke has already publicly discussed her issues on the show. Okay. Now, Marsau and Tisha did I remember Marsau and Tisha telling, that they were always telling Mel Martell, like, be careful, lock your stuff up when Keke come around because she be stealing pills and stuff, allegedly. But Keke talked about her own situation on the show. She's the one that presented that information on the show. So it ain't no thing. I don't get it. So anywho, I mean, I get, you know, taking the jabs in the moment. I get that. So that was Kourtney's thing. So Marcel said, okay, like, he's like, you know, maybe I could have reacted differently. Yeah, in the moment, you know, maybe if I was outside looking in and I didn't see my wife get a drink thrown at her, maybe I would have not said that. He was like, okay, raise your hand if you have picked Keke up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. Raise your hand if you've done it multiple times. Raise your hand if you didn't have talks with her for 4 or 5 hours. And he was like, we've been there for Keke through everything. He's like, even when Keke's mama abandoned her, even when her cousin wasn't there for her, her husband wasn't there for her, we have been there for her. So his thing is like, okay, now you're going to be taking jabs at us when you're sober, and we've been there to help you through your worst of times. And so then he still kept saying, like, you know, you need to get some help. You need to get clean. You need to get off the drugs. Like, he's still taking jabs about the drug stuff. I forgot exact comments he made, y'all. So Courtney again was like, no, that's not funny, Marcel. You don't need to be saying that. That is not okay. And so he said, okay, I'm sorry. Like, hurt people. And, you know, that's not, basically his thing is like, you can't say, like, you can't tell him how to react when she's the one that's doing it to them and they the ones that's been helping Keke. I would love to hear from someone who's impartial, who was there at the time, to know how much they really did help Keke and not. I would love to know Keke's perspective of that, although that might be blurred if she was, you know, having an issue. My thing is this, and before we get to the Stormi part of that conversation, my thing is this. If somebody throw a drink on somebody, you can't tell them how to then react to it. Okay, if you throw a drink on me and then I start talking mess about you, you can't get mad at me about what I said and you threw a drink on me. Like, that don't make sense to me. That's why I wasn't understanding some people's reactions to this. Like, okay, you throw a drink on me, I'm gonna react how I react. Like, you can't tell me how to react. Now I get it. Is it low blow for him to, you know, drag her about the drugs over and over and over and say you need to get drug tested and all that? It could be considered low blow. Yeah, I'll say that. It could be low blows. Now what I will say, when it comes to family and spouses, let me talk about my family, but you don't talk about my family. So I wish Tisha, I wanted to hear more of Tisha's anger. And to me, we heard way too much of Marsau's upset and anger. Tisha didn't have enough. Tisha sat there too quietly for me. And that's the part I didn't like. Like, Tisha, tell me how you're upset with Keke throwing this drink at you. Stop letting Marsau be your mouthpiece. It's the same thing they said, you know, Tisha let Miss Wanda be her mouthpiece. Now she's sitting up here letting Marsau be her mouthpiece. Like, tell me why you're mad at Keke right now for throwing that drink at you. To me, I didn't hear enough from Tisha. She did kind of say how she not going to be fake and phony. You know, she did have her moments, but I would have liked to see her interrupt Marsau in that moment and tell me what she's had to do for Keke and how she took Keke to get help and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I would have liked to hear that. To me, that would have been more real. I would not have let my husband drag my cousin that hard. Now, granted, he's defending me because I just got this drink poured on me, so I ain't mad at it. But I would have eventually stopped him on his roll from saying all that, you know. So Stormi said, well, Keke, she is clean. Like, she's clean. Like, basically, she's like, do y'all even know she on the stuff or not? And so she's clean. So then Marcel's like, Stormi, have you ever seen someone do drugs? Like, what? So she was like, yeah, my best friend, actually, like, she used to take care of my son and she used to live with me, but she had a problem. I was trying to help her get clean. And she's okay. And he asked her, okay, why doesn't she live with you anymore? And she was like, because I think she didn't even say, and she got up and she was really emotional. And so Courtney, cousin Courtney's like, oh, Storms. And so she went to console her, and Marsau did apologize. He said, I know we have our things, but, you know, that was a little bit, I'm very sorry. I didn't know that was, you know, sensitive topic for you. So he apologized, and she accepted his apology. And even in her confession, she said she was, you know, happy he apologized. And so I was thinking about it later on before I did this review. And I think the reason why Stormi likes Keke now and is trying to connect with her is because of that best friend that had the same issue as Keke. And so she probably understands Keke at a different level than maybe everybody else does because of that. And so you know what? I'm not mad at Stormi about that. I'm really not. And so we do see Stormi eventually get ready to leave. And so she talks to Miss Nell and saying that, you know, she was talking to Keke, you know, because she wanted to get her friend help. And so that does make sense. And I can see why it got Stormi emotional. Tisha was saying, like, you know, she's done with Keke. She's not going to be Keke and Haha with her no more. She's over her. She lied to her. She don't trust her no more. She is done with Keke. And, hey, I can't blame her, okay? I can't blame her. You throw a drink on me, I'm probably going to be done with you, too. How do you recover from someone throwing a drink on you? How do you recover from that? So, anywho, that was pretty much the end of that dang exhausting barbecue. That barbecue exhausted the hell out of me, y'all. Anyway, I think the next thing we see is Martell, Courtney, as in Stormi's husband, and Chris Fletcher down to the gym. Martell said that Courtney wants to lose some weight. He wanted to get on an eating plan and all this, so they're going to work out. Some guy named Coach somebody is training them. I was like, Martell, why don't you train them? Because, you know, you have a nice body, but, you know, he calling in an expert. That could be a stream of income for Martell because he needed it, allegedly. So, you know, they working out and all that. Chris Fletcher looked good at the gym. I said, that Chris Fletcher is handsome. I said, go ahead, Nell. So they were talking about what happened at the barbecue and Keke throwing that drink. They was making a joke saying, you know, Tisha got doused and all that. And so they were talking about the whole and Marsau about to get into it because Marsau made the comments about Keke being on drugs and needing to be drug tested and all that. So Courtney was saying, like, you know, he don't like how Marsau got the smart mouth, and he was coming at him at the town hall, calling him Mr. Steele and all that. He was like, you know, he got a slick mouth. And so Martell's like, well, you know, Stormi did call him a bitch and all that. And he was like, yeah. And he was like, well, you as a man, like, you should, you know, have made her not do that. And he was like, yeah, but, you know, she can handle it because he always poking at my wife. And I see Courtney's point on that. And so Martell said something about it in the confessional, how he said Marsau probably needs to slow down with the jabs, but he don't think that a woman should address a man in that way. So, first of all, Martell, we really don't care about your opinion. You barely on the show. The friends of the shows get more camera time than you, but that's neither here or there. Anywho, you know, Chris Fletcher's like, have you had a conversation with Marcel? He's like, no, he ain't, you know, I just met him. He ain't changed all this time. And he's like, if I do have a conversation with him, I'm going to have it at black. One thing I did appreciate about what Courtney said as well is that he's like, you know, he going to let Stormi deal with that. She can handle it. Because you know what? If Courtney would have piped up on Marsau at any point in all these conversations, then things could have really turned ugly. So, you know, thank God that Courtney just kind of let, you know, Stormi deal with Marsau because it wasn't that serious. You know, Marsau's just playing with her and trolling people. That's what he does. But what if Courtney took it to heart and got super mad at Marsau and then they end up fighting? What if that happened, right? Just the way they was fighting down in Madani, which they flashed that scene in the beginning. So anywho, Chris Fletcher asked Martell what he been up to. He said, you know what I've been up to. And then he was like, okay, when you moving? He was like, oh, well, I still got 23 days, so I'm good. He's like, what? You ain't got that many days? He's like, where you better go to? He said, you better go to Chateau Sheree, you better go to Mel's house on the hill, you better go somewhere, but you got to get the hell out. I was like, why y'all still bringing up Sheree? And so I think Courtney's the one that made the joke about if you're going to be in Atlanta or Huntsville. That's how they got the Sheree. So then Chris Fletcher was like, I don't care if he go to Sheree house. I don't care if he go to Mel house, but he got to get the hell up out of here. So anyway, then they talked about how Stormi wants to get Chris Fletcher and Courtney DNA tested because it's a possibility they may be related in some type of way. I guess everyone's been talking about it. Courtney ran into one of his sons. And even the son said it. I said, I want to see what Chris Fletcher's sons look like. Because if Chris Fletcher looking that good. But Chris and Al Fletcher are short. So I don't know. The sons may not be too tall. But it's cool. I want to see what they looking like. So they're going to see if they are family. They showed a side by side. I don't really see a resemblance. But that don't mean they can be related, right? All right. So then the final scene we get is Keke and are down to the storage. Because they got to move again. So they getting stuff out the storage. I hate storages. I've had a storage before. It's like the most exhausting thing in the world to me. It's such a waste of money. I mean, it's good when you need it. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's just such an unnecessary bill sometimes. And then it's stuff it's stuff you could clearly live without. It's like when you have a house and you have a storage, it's just too much. Unless you have like a business and you need it, it's too much. Now, if you're in the process of moving, okay, I get it. But yeah, I'd be like, I don't want to do no more storages in my life. So, and it'd be hot in there too, but rodents and bugs be all in your stuff. So they getting stuff out because they got to move again. Keke's upset about the move. Basically, they're moving because the oldest son, I guess, plays, I'm assuming football or something. He's an extremely good athlete, Keke said. And I guess he's not being played well on the team he's on, so they want to play him where they'll play him in the position better at a different school. And so she doesn't like the fact that Amin wants to uproot the family for the oldest son and not considering the whole family and the other two kids. And she had to move them out to school. And she the main one to deal with the school stuff. So she tired of it. He was like, oh, they'll do fine at a new school. They need to change. It will be good. It'll be fine. And she feels like he just makes these decisions. Okay. So Mel calls, hey girl, how you doing? Where you at? Send me the address. So Mel comes. He's making jokes like, you can come move. And so they ask her how they doing. Keke said, they got smiles on their face, but, they not doing the best. Mel asked how they talked to Marsau or Tisha, anybody. Keke said, of course not. Keke said, at this point, the relationship is done. She don't see no reason to talk to Tisha. There's nothing they could do to move forward. And they can't, y'all. I mean, maybe they could. I don't know. Maybe we need some Iyanas and Dr. Francis and something, Jesus, to bring it all together. I don't know. So, anyway, Mel was telling him about, what happened after, they left. I say, Mel, why are you running information back and forth? Mel playing her charade part this season. Go ahead, Mel. So she telling him, yeah, after y'all left the barbecue, I stayed a little bit after, but, they were making jokes about the drug stuff and all that. And so they were like, yeah, that isn't new. And they were saying how Tisha said she likes Amin. Everybody likes Amin. Even Tisha said it. And Keke and Amin both were like, no, that's fake and phony because she ain't liked Amin ever since I first started dating him. I was like, oh, what's the tea on that? So that's why I said I need to know, like, what was really going on because we hearing so many versions of the past, okay? So then, they were saying how, the whole drug thing, Amin doesn't like the fact that, Marcel was saying that Keke needed to get drug tested. That's why he got mad and upset. And so, also he didn't like that, he was yelling at his wife and he was like, he's like, okay, that's the second time you think you're going to talk to my wife any old kind of way. So they flash back to that scene. I don't even remember what season this was. It last season or season before last? When they were at Miss Wanda's show enough, baked potato, whatever she had, the food truck, where she was presenting the food to the whole family and they had that event. I think Uncle Bernard or whatever his name was there cutting up as well. And Keke was saying she had all this information about Tisha and Tisha was addressing her for talking to Mel about her and all that. And so Keke said she was going to blow up the spot if she had to. And Marcel started yelling, saying, go ahead, do it. And he was giving very much guilty. Yeah, that scene, I forgot about that scene till they showed it too. And so that was Amin's reference to the first time, he didn't like how Marcel talked to his wife. So now this is time too for him. So he was like, okay, you want to laugh about the drugs? You want to talk to my wife crazy? I'm going to show you. So Amin is over it. He's ready to get into it with Marcel. Okay, so Mel is like, you know what? It's not funny to make fun of the drugs and all that. She's like, but however, Keke, you did throw a drink on her. She's like, I'm not going to lie. I done threw a drink before. They flash a scene when Mel threw the drink at Martell and the Fletchers who came on the show before being the marriage counselors, before Miss Nell lost all that weight. And she was like, I drank a drink before, but girl, you threw a drink. You doused that girl, and that was not right. Keke said, she feels bad about what she did, but she doesn't feel bad about where they are now, basically. And so Mel said, you know what, Keke, you know what, we need to just shut them down, girl. We need to just shut them down. We need to prove the haters wrong, girl. And you know what the best thing I think you could do is to take a drug test and prove to them that you are not on drugs right now. And you know what, girl, I bought a test. Y'all, when Mel said she bought Keke a drug test, I was hollering. Okay, and the reason why I'm hollering is because Mel, you don't believe Keke is sober because why are you riding the girl drug test? Because the Mel basically is like, well, Keke, prove it to me you sober before I be defending you in these streets. That's what Mel was giving, okay? And that's pretty much where the episode ended, y'all. Next week, Keke talking about she ain't gonna take a drug test unless Marsau take a lie detector test. And Mel was looking like, ooh, child. Also, we're gonna see Mel going back and forth between the girls, okay? So, anywho, yeah, it was a lot to talk about. There's a lot of layers happening with the whole Tisha family bring the drama. Tisha and Stormi family, they bring the drama. It's a lot of layers to talk about. Let me know what y'all think. Who's right and who's wrong. At the end of the day, we ain't in their family anyway. I'm not here to debate or go back and forth for no millimeters. Okay? There's a lot of interesting debates on Twitter, but I do want to know y'all comments and y'all's opinions respectfully. I definitely see both sides, but at the end of the day, if you throw a drink on me, you can't tell me what I can say or not say next. I'm sorry. You can't tell me how to react. But that's just my opinion. I know everybody has their thoughts on it. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.